was more than 2 months ago that Riley Strain was last seen along this stretch of K Street, just above the Cumberland River. He disappeared, and now finally, we have a better idea of what exactly happened to him.
Or do we? Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Wednesday morning, the 12th of June. Talking about Riley Strain today. If you remember, Riley, on the weekend beginning March the 8th, he was in Nashville for some kind of event with his fraternity brothers. And on the evening of March the 8th, he was drinking with his pals and he was asked to leave a bar. And then numerous CCTV surveillance cameras pick him up, walking through Nashville and heading towards the river. And then he just disappeared. His family knew he wouldn't have just walked away of his own volition. Riley and his mother were very close. They'd been texting up to the hour that he disappeared. And he'd actually texted her saying that the drink he'd had tasted odd. So his family have always been concerned that Riley maybe had a spiked drink, which led him to behave erratically, or there's some form of foul play involved. Riley just disappeared. 2 weeks later, his body was washed out of the Cumberland River several miles downstream from where he was last seen on CCTV. That's Riley's story, and we've been waiting ever since to find out more about what happened to Riley. Now, 5 days ago, Nick Barris from News Channel 5 Nashville wrote on his Facebook this. I read this out in a video thinking, okay, we're getting close to answers, and it does just look like Riley died from a very sad accidental drowning. For whatever reason, he fell in the river. Nick Barris claimed that he had some information. Week on week, people have been asking Nick what's going down with Riley Strain's case and where's his autopsy result. And he said in this post that he's learnt from sources close to the case the full autopsy conclusion will likely be accidental drowning. We know that the 22-year-old University of Missouri student's body was found in the Cumberland River 2 weeks after he disappeared. At the time, Metro Police Chief John Drake said preliminary indications were that it was a horrible accident, but there were some odd circumstances. Riley's wallet was missing and his bank card was found on the bank by a couple of TikTokers. Okay, his bank card could have fallen out of his pocket as he fell, possibly, but his body was also recovered without pants or boots. Now, I'm not unusually perturbed by that, because quite often items of clothing, especially footwear, come off when the body's in a river. And maybe the wallet was in the pants pocket. All right, it raises questions, doesn't it?
A lot of times when an autopsy report takes a little while to be released, it makes individuals somewhat suspect that maybe there's a criminal investigation.
News Channel 5 has learned toxicology is now back to go along with the completed autopsy, and all indications are what happened was an accidental death, a drowning. No evidence of trauma or that Strain had been drugged, and no sign he was victim of a crime.
So, yeah, Nick Barris seemed to have some information from a source close to the case. Court TV also picked up on it just a day ago. The title of this piece on Court TV, Toxicology Report Released for Death of Riley Strain. And they had former FBI agent on, Jennifer Coffendaffer.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I did want to say, Sonny, good news here, I think, at least from what I researched, is that toxicology did show no drugs. So we don't know the exact levels of alcohol, but it appears no drugs. So at least we could check that off. And I think this was, and have from the very beginning, thought this was a tragic accident. I based that on the video surveillance we saw and the fact that his trousers were, off. He was found 8 miles down that river that flowed very heavy and caught snagged. So I think they were removed in transit, and possibly he had loosened them to go down to the river to relieve himself.
Maybe that could well be the case. However, where's this toxicology report that Jennifer Coffendaffer and others are saying has been released? Toxicology report released for death of Riley Strain. Where is it? And Jennifer Coffendaffer is a regular tweeter, And she says here, the full autopsy has been released and there are no signs of foul play. There are no drugs in his system and no signs of trauma. Rest in peace, Riley. Okay, well, where did you get this information? The licensed private investigator retained by his family said of 1 p.m. today, so this was June the 10th, a couple of days ago, this is incorrect. Nothing has been released. Who is lying? Jennifer replies, no one is lying. He doesn't understand. The entire autopsy, inclusive of the toxicology, was released to LE, who said publicly no foul play and no drugs in his system. So where is the law enforcement person saying the toxicology report and the autopsy report have been released to LE? How does Jennifer Coffindaffer know from this LE source I can't find? How does she know this? All right, so the private investigator is SF Investigates. He's been retained by the family, so as a PI, he should have some valid information. Okay, so he says, just got off the phone with the medical examiner's office in Davidson County, Tennessee. The autopsy of Riley Strain is still pending and nothing has been released. The tweet from Coffindaffer is completely wrong. As of 1 p.m. Nashville time on June 10th, the autopsy of Riley Strain is still pending. I'm the family's retained private investigator in this case, and I am fully aware of what's going on with both the state and the private autopsy. So there's actually 2 autopsies. The family got themselves a private autopsy in addition to the one that will be done by the medical examiner's office. And Steve Fisher goes on to say, despite certain true crime accounts claiming otherwise, as of 1 p.m. CST on June 10th, the autopsy of Riley Strain is still pending, not being released to anyone. Spoke directly with the Davidson County Medical Examiner's Office and they confirmed this information to me. I am the private investigator, as he said. Please rely on my information and refrain from spreading incorrect information which causes great anxiety for Riley Strain's family and friends. It's difficult, isn't it, when you have reputable people like Nick Barris, who does have sources, who tries his best to put out factual information, although not always. Consider the flashlights for Rory in the Sebastian Rogers case. But the conversation here on Twitter carries on into June 11th. So someone called Abby says, of Court TV's reporting, this is false and disgusting that news channels willingly publish incorrect information without getting consent or correct information from reliable sources. As some of you know, I was friends with Riley. Seeing these claims about his toxicology and autopsy results and having to find out that they aren't even true is hurtful to me and so many others. I'm so thankful that people care so much about Riley, getting him home and getting his story out there for people to hear. But with that comes these sorts of things, and it never gets easier. I would never wish this pain upon anyone. Steve Fisher retweets this, saying, this is a long-time friend of Riley Strain. The false reporting by Court TV and Coffindaffer that they obtained the tox and Jennifer claiming the autopsy has been released is hurtful to family and friends. And then he asks people to Google the Dunning-Kruger effect. So I'll ask you to go and Google the Dunning-Kruger effect. So his last tweet that I can see on this case, he says, 19 hours ago as I record this, out of respect to the family, I'm not going to comment on the tox report any further until it's officially released. I will only comment if I get a statement from Dr. Lee at the medical examiner's office. I contacted him about Jennifer Coffindaffer's lies and asked him to provide a statement. If he does, I will post it. Otherwise, I will comment after it's released. Trust me, Jennifer is lying. That's all I have to say about it. So the truth about Riley Strain's autopsy and toxicology reports are still in the wind. So I'm going to wait until we actually get a release from either law enforcement or the medical examiner's office. So let's just say at the moment, we don't know. I'm very open to the possibility that this was just an accidental drowning. However, we have to be accurate in our reporting, don't we? We have to be. Out of respect for Riley and the family, let's just be patient and wait and see before we comment any further. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Sit.